Today's recipes are short and sweet coffee shop type drinks. They're so cozy, easy to recreate, and they cost a fraction of the price of what a coffee shop would sell these at. Give this video a quick like if you have a second, that would be amazing. Also, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. On Sunday, I was still visiting family, hence the different kitchen setup, and I made this cozy pumpkin spice chai latte there. To a small to medium saucepan, add a few whole or crushed cardamom pods, 1 to 2 black tea bags, cinnamon, other optional spices that you can play around with, some dried or fresh ginger, nutmeg, a pre-mixed masala spice mix. Add some sweetener of choice, then hot water, and then you let the tea and the spices steep. How long depends on your preference. I would say about 5 minutes. Remove the tea and the spices, and then thoroughly mix in the pumpkin puree. Whisk and let it simmer for 2 to 3 minutes. I now serve the tea together with some warmed oat milk. Yeah, I made 2 servings here, one for me and one for my sister who had never seen Hercules, so that needed to happen immediately. Monday I went back home to Berlin, and before going to bed I decided to test out this recipe for pink moon milk, and I'll put the original blog post in the description. All you gotta do is add some plant-based milk to your saucepan together with some optional vanilla, tart, cherry juice, and some sweetener. Although since there was some sugar in the juice that I used, I ended up skipping the sweetener. Then bring everything up to a quick simmer, whisking it thoroughly, and that is it. I quite like the combination of cherry and chocolate, and so I dusted over some cacao powder in the end. Gotta be honest, the idea of mixing juice and milk freaked me out a little bit, but I was pleasantly surprised by how well this worked together. This next recipe is a coffee idea that I am very excited to share. This is banana bread cold brew. Alright, so this recipe starts with making a banana bread syrup. This is heavily inspired by a TikTok, which I will link down below. But yeah, basically mash 1 ripe banana, transfer it to a small saucepan together with sugar, a little bit of maple syrup, a pinch of salt, some form of vanilla, lots and lots of cinnamon, and then feel free to add additional cozy spices such as nutmeg, cardamom, and so on. Bring this up to a quick boil, then turn the heat to medium-low, allow it to simmer for about 10 minutes. And then simply strain through a fine strainer. I went with this just comically small strainer for some reason, which of course took ages.
All that night it rained, and all the next morning, warm, grey, soft and steady as a dream.
Alright, so for the coffee drink, I put ice cubes in a jar, 2 to 3 teaspoons of the syrup, and then I filled 3/4 of this cup with cold brew, and then added some oat milk. Although the different ratios are totally up to you. So I'd made the cold brew using the very much not sponsored Chamberlain Coffee cold brew bags, but you can of course make cold brew the traditional way. Despite this being an iced drink, I'm feeling incredibly cozy right now. I've got my candles going, wearing my old cardigan. It is raining incessantly outside. If you're not feeling like having a cold drink, you can of course add the syrup to your hot coffee or your tea, which is what I'm doing here. This is just some black tea plus 2 to 3 teaspoons of syrup per cup. I let the tea steep for just a handful of minutes and then added my oat milk. I had never made hot apple cider before. My only association to apple cider has to do with 2012 to 2015 beauty YouTubers drinking it in their fall videos, and it always looked really good. First, you cut a bunch of apples into quarters. There's no need to remove the cores or peel anything. Transfer the apples to a large saucepan together with brown sugar, cinnamon, allspice, and optionally, again, other fall spices. I added some cardamom and some vanilla. Lastly, add enough water to cover the apples and bring everything up to a boil. Then reduce the heat to medium-low and allow everything to simmer for about 2 hours. Make sure to have the lid on. There should be room for the steam to escape. That's about it. I didn't feel the need to add any more water as it was simmering, since there is so much liquid inside the apples. Then strain everything, mashing down onto the apples to get every last bit of juice out of them. That is it. This was delicious. My only edit would be adding some lemon to cut through all the sweetness. But this was really nice. Super yummy hot, super good cold as well.
Anything to you? I'll have a Trenta, no foam, 5-shot half cap, no foam, pumpkin spice latte with no foam at 210 degrees.
On Thursday, I prepared everything I needed to make my own pistachio milk, which sounds very fancy, I realize now. But this wasn't actually super pricey. These are the most affordable pistachios that I could find. They're roasted and unsalted and still have the shells on. Those need to be removed. This part takes a while, but I wasn't bored because I was listening to my friend recount the Chappell Roan concert that he went to that week.
Yeah.
I let the peeled pistachios soak in water overnight, and then the following morning I added them to my trusty small blender alongside 2 cups of water, some agave syrup, and salt. I ran the milk through a fine strainer, but it is recommended that you use something like a cheesecloth. Yeah, I don't have a cheesecloth, and so I just had to accept the fact that my milk felt a little grainy. I like the pistachio milk the most warm, with a bit of added cinnamon, maybe some extra sweetener, or some sweetened whipped cream. I also tried an iced version, creating a pistachio iced matcha latte. And I finished everything off with some more whipped cream, because I kind of like the look of this pistachio milkshake situation. There was no cozy drink to report on for Saturday, but I've got one for Sunday. It's this creamy, spicy hot chocolate. Shout out to my friends for letting me film in their kitchen.
Das ist was für so 5.
To my pot, I'm adding 1 bag of semi-sweet chocolate chips, some vanilla tonka paste, oat milk, some water, plus some in water dissolved cacao powder. And then as soon as the chocolate was melted, I added some in water dissolved cornstarch. Brought everything up to a quick boil so the starch had a chance to activate. I also made sure to keep whisking all throughout. And then as for the spicy factor, I added just the tiniest bit of cayenne pepper. Feel free to add more, but make sure to add the cayenne pepper gradually. You don't want to go in with like half a teaspoon and then be left with unedible or undrinkable hot chocolate. For our brunch, we also made vegan pancakes, or tried to at least. The issue was that we didn't have any baking powder, and so then I opted for yeast instead.
Let's go.
Let me know if you would like to see a more in-depth recipe on these. That's all the recipes I have for today. Next video, I'm back with more savory stuff, in case you were wondering. But thank you so much for being here and watching. And now here's a final word from today's sponsor. Squarespace makes it really easy to create a beautiful website, connect to your audience, share your art, sell your products, sell your content, and more. Start by choosing from their wide range of professionally designed website templates to get started, or build your site from scratch if you prefer. Also, create a new logo while you're at it. Have your website quickly get discovered with their optimized SEO tools, meaning you will show up more often in people's search engines and therefore grow your brand and business the way you want. If you need extra help, don't hesitate to ask their 24/7 award-winning customer service. Start today. Go to squarespace.com/MeNowRome and use the code MeNowRome to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you for watching until the end, and I will see you very soon. Bye!